Okay, Dan, we'll let you handle this one first. For student safety, it is important for the police department and the school to work together and share information. Is it possible that the school liaison officer will be reinstated?
Well, I'd like to think so, but once again, it's re-employing another police officer. When I was on the city council and the police officer for the school safety was being phased out at that time, I personally met with Pat Blackcaller and Dr. Paul Vine, sat at the Board of Education meeting with the board director, and said, how can we make it so this liaison officer can still stay in the schools? I believe we need it for safety. There's a number of schools that still have them, but they are being phased out, unfortunately. With that in mind, we have to continually just work with our schools. We've talked with our police chief, and we will continually send our police officers up there to the schools, not just up to the schools, but to all the schools, so we can build that rapport. It helps when our police officers stop on the street and talk to the youth in our area, finding out what's going on. We will continually do that. I've reinforced that with the police chief. And being 33 years in law enforcement, I know what it's like to be able to continually keep this rapport with the students. We will do so, and I doubt very much that we will ever get that police officer back into the school, unfortunately. If we had the money to do it, probably I recommended when I was on the city council that we go back into it, but the council voted against it.
All right, Romaine, your comments.
I believe school safety is extremely important. And again, as Mr. Fitzgerald said, it's about money though. Should we reprioritize and put him back in and be cut somewhere else? That's something to be looked into. I know, I was at school recently. I've seen there are drugs up there. I've seen those people that stand inside and wait outside and watch kids walk home, or watch kids get on the buses and where they get off. And I've seen that. And I know we have a healthy school system and we have a great community, but there are those out there that can cause potential harm. So whether it's having more crosswalk guards, I've met and talked with some of them. We have some great crosswalk guards. They do a lot of good work. I see our police squad serving in the schools all the time. And that's great, because these are the most vulnerable people in our community, and protecting them is important. But again, it comes down to the money, and we need to prioritize. And maybe this is an issue that we do need to reprioritize.
All right, Dan, 30 seconds.
I don't know what we can add. It's certainly a priority for us. We can take a look at it, but I certainly wouldn't bet my last dollar on getting it back in there in the near future.
Alrighty. Okay, let's see. Romaine, this is yours to handle first anyway. This came up, I think, in maybe both of your comments earlier, but we'll focus in on this one now. Transportation for the elderly, handicapped, and others who cannot drive or own a car is not available with the current city cab. How would you remedy this?
I believe to say that we have a taxi in town is kind of a far cry when you have to make an appointment at least a day ahead of time in order to get a ride. I believe this is a problem. Again, we have looked towards privatizing it. I was vocal on this and pushed for it. We had a comment in the audience that said they've witnessed other groups in other towns that have privatized this, and they've gotten better service, and it's cheaper. And again, finding better services for the least amount of money, and again, taking care of those that are less fortunate and being sensitive to their situations as well. Because the people that our taxi ride, our shared service supports, are those people that may not be as well off as the rest of us. And to make sure that need is fulfilled is extremely important. And again, by referring it back to committee and by looking at privatizing it, I think is extremely important in moving forward with this topic.
All right, Dan.
As I stated, I sat on the committee when we looked at our bus service. And as many times as I saw that bus going around City Hall and around my house, it was completely empty. And it just wasn't working for us. Plus, it was costing us close to $200,000 because that is federally funded. We only pay 30% of the shared ride, so that's a lot less money than what everybody thinks it is. But when we went to the shared ride, that was a very good deal for us. We reduced our cost a lot. But boy, I'm a firm believer now that we need to take a look at a privatized system here too. We need to take a look at it and see. I've already had one call from, since it's been in the news and on the paper, from a carrier that says, I'm interested in sitting down with you, but it can't be done completely by the privatized carrier. We're more than likely going to have to subsidize it. One of the other cities that has come to mind, they subsidize their taxi cab service by 5,000 or 10,000, and they have a population of half of what we have. So it's going to cost some money for us to have a privatized carrier. We're not going to get out of the business completely. We have to take care of the people that depend on that service. We have to have something in this city.
All right, thank you, Dan. And Romaine, 30 seconds to sum it up.
Again, I'll agree that this issue is extremely important to a lot of people. The demographics of our community tend to be a little bit elderly, and that eventually will only increase unless trends change. So having that service, a strong transportation service, is extremely important for our community. But still, as we move forward with it, that does not mean we don't look at the cost and other cost-benefit ways of saving as well.
All right, very good. Now, both of our candidates have answered the same number of questions, first and second. And I think it's time now, if your question hasn't been answered or we didn't use it, again, both candidates will be on hand after we go off the air to talk with you, so feel free to come up and bend their ear a little bit. Right now, though, we are going to give each candidate 2 minutes for closing comments. Dan had the first shot at the opening, so Romaine will take first shot at the closing comments. You have 2 minutes.
All right. Again, I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here and speak in front of you. I'm thankful for the opportunity to still be and serve on your council. As mayor of Rice Lake, I will serve and value all citizens. Again, someone's last name, their business, or place of employment, or residence in this town will have no greater influence or value over another. Although a mayor does not necessarily vote on the issues, it is the mayor's job to show leadership on all issues, no matter how the public will view him on the stand he takes. The position is about solving the issues, not making friends and not maintaining the status quo. And serving you would be a privilege. Now, again, I would be honored to receive your vote and support on April 6th. Thank you.
All right, Dan.
Okay, my goal is to make Rice Lake the best city in which to live, work, and play. I will use nearly my 3 decades of business, law enforcement, and military experience, which includes 7 years of government leadership, to support existing Rice Lake businesses, while targeting resources to attract new commercial developments, such as I've done with Kohl's, Walgreens, the VA Clinic, Luther Milford, and all the new clinics in the areas we have. I'm going to require financial and managerial accounting with all city departments. I'll maintain fiscal responsibility while preserving the quality of services provided by the city. I'm going to continue to improve the intergovernmental relations between Rice Lake, Barron County, and our state government agencies. In closing, I want to say thank you to all the people that have supported me over the last 2 years, and to all the people that helped me on my campaign. I also want to say thank you to my family, especially my wife, Bunny, who's been beside me at every door that I've knocked on in the last 2 weeks, for listening to me talk about the city all the time. I'd like to ask you for your support and to re-elect me as your mayor. Thank you, and have a good Easter this weekend.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, and how about a nice round of applause? Next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, is Election Day. We encourage you all to get out and vote. We have 8 candidates running for 4 at-large city council positions. And if any of you were at the forum last Wednesday night, we do have an outstanding field there as well. And I guess that pretty much wraps it up as far as our on-the-air portion. Like I said earlier, both candidates will be around after we sign off, and we'll be glad to take your questions or talk with you about your concerns. And I guess we'd like to thank the University of Wisconsin, Barron County, and Eric Casper for setting this up for us here at this fine facility. And we'll also thank WJMC for co-sponsoring the event. And we'd like to thank the Public Access Channel here in Rice Lake as well. And tune into that channel. And Mick was telling me he's going to have this particular program on numerous times during the next week, as well as the forum from last week with the 8 candidates for City Council. And most of all, we'd like to thank you citizens for coming out, and those of you listening on the radio, thanks for listening as well. And that's our program from the University of Wisconsin Center Fine Arts Theater. Thank you.